Hello, I'm Sharpened Blade, and this is the EMP EDC Thick Boy. Now, when the pre-order of this initially happened, I did not take part. I had watched a few videos of the prototype that was being passed around, and a few people had said that it had a light detent. So I was kind of trying to decide whether I wanted the Nimble or the Thick Boy. I believe I had missed out on the Nimble pre-order as well, but I figured I'd just get one or the other at some point. So I was like, you know what, the pre-order is available, but it's got issues with detent. I'm not going to bother with it. So I didn't take part in the pre-order. However, one became available, the one that I pre-ordered, and I just decided, you know what, screw it, I'll just get it, see what it's like. If I don't like it, I could sell it, so, you know, win-win, right? And I am certainly glad I did, because the detent in these production models, to me, is perfect. But with all that being said, let's take a closer look. So what caught my eye on this knife the most was the design. I've always loved cleaver style blades. You know, this is that sheep's foot kind of a, you know, oversized sheep's foot cleaver style to it, and I really love that blade shape. I love this hole here for a deployment. You know, it looks cool. I know it's just a simple hole, but they did some nice milling around it. And inside here, it's bead blasted, but it's also, you're not going to be able to see it. I would show it on the camera, but it's not going to focus enough. It's very, very, very small micro milling on the bolsters and also on some of the inlays, but also in here. It's a really nice touch. So you can kind of see how it's satin on every other part of the blade. It's all satin, and then it's a different finish in here. There's micro milling in there, and that's a really nice little fine detail touch that I really like. So you've got an awesome looking blade. It has really nice jimping on it. The jimping is not super aggressive, but your thumb isn't going anywhere. It's, see if I can focus on it here. It's very square. They have chamfering on the sides here, but the top of the jimping is all very square. Now it's not sharp, but like I say, your thumb isn't going anywhere, or your finger, put your finger on it, they're not going anywhere. It's pretty much perfect, this jimping. And it's done up far enough on the blade that even when you're choked up, you can still use the jimping. So they did a fantastic job on the jimping. Now back on the handle, I love the angles, like the straight lines. Although there is slight curvature to them, there is very, you know, there's straight, you got straight lines and you've got curves everywhere. I don't want to cut myself because this thing is sharp. So I like that. It's a very aggressive look to it. It doesn't have the, I was thinking the other day, especially the PVD black coated version that he released. I hope he does more because that thing looks badass. But it looks like something Van Helsing would would carry. It doesn't look so much with this pop of blue on it. It doesn't look as much like that. But it came, I might as well talk about the inlays. It came with these black micarta inlays on them, and I got the blue G10, which is a nice little pop of color. And then you also have, I also bought, there's lots of different options, but I also bought the hefty brass, which looks super nice too. And this is the inlay I was referring to when I said it had micro milling on it. It's not going to show up in camera because it's so micro milled, But super, super nice. I love the fact you can change the inlays out super easy. So, but I'll get into that again. I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, the handle has a nice aggressive look to it, but it's not uncomfortable either. It still has good ergos. It's a little cramped right back here. Now I wear a medium-sized glove. I can get all 4 fingers on, but it's a little bit cramped. However, there is a very generous finger choil up here on the blade, so when you choke up, super comfortable. It just disappears into my hand, and I love using it. But you do sacrifice some cutting edge. This is, the blade length is just over 3 inches long, and you've got a 2 1/4 inch cutting edge. So you do sacrifice some of the blade length. However, most of the time when I'm using it, I only use this much of the blade, so it's really not that big of a deal. And it is a very slicey knife. It's a beast. It's a slicing beast. Like I say, this is a satin finish. You can get it in stone washed, PVD coated, and acid washed. But there are some available still. I will say this right now, I'll interject. There are a couple left on the website at the time of filming, so you know, if you want one, check it out. But anyways, back to the knife. This has a satin finish on it, and it's a flat grind. It's not a super duper tall, well, I guess if you kind of look at it, you know, it's not tall in relation to the size of the knife, the blade. But most knives are this tall. So, you know, relatively speaking, it's a very tall flat grind, but just not in comparison to the height of the blade. But it's a fairly thick blade stock compared to some of the knives we've seen lately. This is 0.16 roughly inches thick. So, you know, it's a little bit thicker. However, it comes down to a very aggressive flat grind, and it is extremely slicey. Cuts through cardboard like nobody's business. I love using this knife. And then you've got some jimping back here. Very large jimping. It kind of wraps back a little bit. It's very nice looking. I don't notice it when I hold the knife that much. For me, it's just mostly aesthetics. But I'm sure if you're really gripping it really hard, you probably would notice that enough that it would, you know, help hold the knife in your hand. But I don't really even feel it, to be honest with you. But I also don't use my knives extremely hard. And flipping over to the other side, you have the pocket clip. It is not a deep carry clip. However, I'm just going to close this so I don't cut myself because it is very sharp. You only have about this much of the knife sticking up out of your pocket. So that's really not too bad. Now, since we are looking at the pocket clip, let's talk about the pocket carry. It carries quite well for how tall it is. I usually put it in my pocket and then just kind of press it over into the side of my pocket. I carry my wallet in the same pocket as I carry my knife. So it kind of depends on how big your pockets are. But I have had no issue carrying this at all. It's not in the way. It's not, you know, you can kind of feel this jimping a little bit when you put your hand in, when I put my hand in to get my wallet out. But it's not in the way at all. But just be aware that it is a fairly tall knife. Let's just do a quick measurement to see how tall this is. Yeah, it's just over 1 3/4 inches tall. So that's the nature of a cleaver style knife though. It's got a tall blade. But that's not really negative, it's just something to be aware of. So back to the inlays again. Sorry if I'm kind of jumping around a lot. There's just 2 screws on this side, 2 screws on this side, plus the pocket clip screws, so 4 screws in total that you have to take out. Just pop them out, pop the new inlay on. Bob's your uncle. You got a new looking knife. So that's nice that you don't have to take the knife apart to do that. Very cool. I appreciate that. Now, on to my favorite part of the knife. Hands down, best feature of this knife is the action. I love this knife so much. The action is phenomenal. And this is kind of going back to what I said at the first. The detent, I think, I know that the detent on the prototypes are a little bit lighter than these for sure, but they definitely dial it in. It's perfect. You gotta be careful. This thing will shut on your thumb. It's not super drop shutty because there is enough pressure from the lock bar on it so that it doesn't freely drop shut like a guillotine, but I like that. Because you know, it's a little bit safer this way. If I wanted to though, I could tune it a bit and make it more drop shutty, but to be honest, I'm happy with this. It's super smooth. And I'm just going to stop talking for a second and just let you listen to how nice it sounds. Awesome. Love that. So for me, it ticks off all the boxes that are important to me with a knife. Awesome design, very nice action, fun to fidget with. I kind of put those together, and sounds awesome. I love the sound of it. Like, I guess that's mostly from the detent, but when it locks up, it's got a very nice click. And when it goes home, nice click from the detent. So I really, really, really love this knife. I've been taking pictures of it, put it on Instagram. Just love it. It's so fun to take pictures of. It's an excellent knife. But yeah, absolutely fantastic knife. Like I say, they're still available. So I'll leave a link in the description of this video to EMP EDC's website. There is satin with olive micarta, and there's, I'm just trying to remember, stone washed with black micarta. So those are the two options available. And like I say, if you don't like the inlays, I'm pretty sure there's other inlays available still too. So you can pick up some of those and pimp out your knife. But yeah, let's switch over to tabletop mode. I'll do some size comparisons, and then we'll do some specs, and then I'll get you guys out of here. Alright, here are some size comparisons. So as you can see, the handle is a little bit shorter than the Rat 2, but, you know, especially in the grip, but you do have that forward finger choil that you can choke up on, so it does make a very comfortable grip. The steel wheel chatbot. CRKT Pilar. Best Tech Paladin. And the Mini Asticus. And now we'll do some specs. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.